Hi and welcome back. Okay, we're going to install the oil cooler top mount, which is supplied by as part of the aero conversions kit, and then the oil cooler itself. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just fits on. I think there might be a small plate that I have to make up here according to the drawings, so we'll look at that when I get to that point. So let's just go over to the aeroplane and see how it fits on there. Okay, we've got a couple of little washers that fit into there, which basically this sort of mounts that way around. They must just, looks like oil or something passes through these. We've got a couple of little sort of hexagonal head adjustment screws. I'll have to learn what they're about at a later stage, but basically that just sort of fits onto there, seals against there. There's a couple of little thin washers or double-sided sort of recessed washers where it fits into a recessed part of the plate like that. There are thick and thin ones of these. It makes it clear that there's a couple of thin ones to go on there. They'll fit onto there, and then we'll have the oil cooler will then fit onto there. That's bolted through there, and I think there must be some sort of an offset plate on there and an offset washer or something to keep that sort of level or raised up. But we'll sort of go through the process of this and see how it fits in eventually. Anyway, let me get stuck into this, and we'll see how it looks in a little while. Okay, that's done. I have made up a washer out of just some scrap material that I had. Went across the two bolts that went through there. I put an extra AN washer through there because I was just in fear that it was going to go through this mounting plate here and then to the actual block itself, but there's plenty of thread on it, so it's okay. This one's on the outside of it. That sort of goes, so there's a gap underneath there, so it doesn't sort of come and interfere with the block at all. I made up a couple of washers under here, as this bolt was actually too long, so the nut would have run out of thread. So rather than just buy a new one, I just made a couple of washers for it, and I've also placed a little lay-in washer in there because as I was tightening it, it was pulling this way, so I've just, slapped a little nut under there to just keep it nice and level. Now there's, in the instructions, there's I think it's a NPT, whatever they call those little mounting plugs that goes into here as an option. There's also an option to put in a temperature pressure for the oil, so temperature for the oil is down here, and this will be for the pressure for the oil. I'll probably put it in, but at the moment I'll just blank it off with a bit of tape just till I get around to doing that. So obviously once I start fitting all the rest of the wiring and God knows what into this engine, everything will start to make a lot more sense than it currently does at the moment. So let me get stuck into the next part, and we'll come back to you shortly. Okay, the two secondary ignition coils are done, and the voltage regulator is done. Very hard to do it on my own, so I'll have to get a hand. I'll put a span on the inside and someone can tighten the outside, or vice versa. It's very hard to sort of get my hand up behind the firewall and nut and put a little span on the front of this at the same time. So I've got a little mental note to get a helping hand with that. Also too, I've made up a little bracket with a little lock recess in it, just because this only had one fixing screw or nut and bolt on it, sorry, and it could sort of swivel, I guess, so I've done that. Anyway, that's that part of the build done, so let's see what's up next. Okay, I've got the first part of the exhaust done prior to starting on the turbocharger and all the other associated pipework around the place. Probably had the exhaust on probably, I don't know, maybe 5 times on and off. I had to enlarge a couple of holes on this side and I think one on that side, but it wasn't by much. It's only about sort of about 2 or so mil, but nonetheless I had to squeeze and move and lever across the exhaust as required. It is what it is, I guess. It is what it is, I guess. And Gavin, I think, had similar problems. I think, if I recall, he had very similar issues with the turbocharger as well. So hopefully that is not the case. But there you have it. I'll get on to the next part of the build. Come back to you shortly. Okay, just spent the past few hours just finishing off the turbo dry fitting installation. So just going through the issues I also had, similar to what Gavin has had, is I've going to have to take about 2 inches off, or add 2 inches onto this, not take 2 inches off, so add 2 inches inside to the middle of it, so 50 mil thereabouts, so it'll miss the exhaust when it comes down, will miss this part of the engine mount. The bracket under here, this bracket, if you can just see there, it's quite a ways away from the actual engine mount bolt that goes through there, which I've taken out. Either way, I tried it on the bottom, I tried it on the top, and it didn't fit, so I don't know what's going on there. It seems to be quite a distance out, and not as if it's about 2 or 3 mil out. It's maybe 10-15 mil out. So I'll have to have that modified, as well as this exhaust part here as well. So the adding onto here to bring this out a bit more, so you can actually see if I put this pot on here, it's just not going to go on. It's got to come out to at least there, sort of thing. So let's call it 25 odd mil. Now I'm also got to fit the exhaust gas temperature probes, which I have here. I think Sonex sort of talk about it being around about sort of, I don't know, maybe 4 inches away from there, in a similar location to all. When you drill them all in, they'll all go into exactly the same location. So not putting one here, in other words, not putting one down here. They've all got to go into a set distance on the exhaust side. So I'll look into that prior to committing to those. Once I drill those through, I'll take this off and wrap it properly. The problems I have are similar to Gavin under here. I'll have to cut or belt in that tin through there to give it the clearance for the wrapping. Going around here is not too bad. Everything seems to be clear through here. The aero injector is just sitting on there at the moment, and I have to put on the I'm going to call it like a little small air filter that goes on the back underside of that as well. It has to be drilled and tapped for an AN3 bolt through there. What else have I done? I made the shroud. I think I've mentioned that already. Made the shroud for the turbo charger there, and I haven't done all of the oil coolant or any of those types of pipe work yet, although I have just dry fitted this one in here back to the actuator, just to see. I thought the hose was going to be too short, actually, so I just pushed it in there. It does fit, so obviously I got to do clips on that. Had to cut the 45 down, and that's around about it. I had to move the what's that one called there? That's called a what is it called? Yeah, sorry, I had to move the voltage regulator. When I installed it there, I sillily looked at a representation that it was in the instructions, and it looked like it was on around about there, but I didn't consider the turbocharger, so I've taken it off. It's just sitting back down in here, at the moment, so whether it sort of gets mounted around here somewhere or whatever. So this allows me now to work out the battery box location, the oil catch can, and then I can move on to the coolant for the turbocharger. So this is the oil cooler, and then there's a turbocharger coolant device, fan, whatever. Just on that too, I ended up getting the just walk over here. I ended up getting the genuine Toyota Prius one. I did that because here's the genuine Toyota Prius, but I did actually buy the one off eBay first, which I thought was a Toyota Prius, but it wasn't. That was from China, and Gavin sort of alluded to the fact that they would last about sort of 5 minutes. Now when I've held two of these, both the Toyota one, the genuine one, and this copy together, there's not a great deal of difference that I can see in them, but for the sake of 70, I think, Australian dollars that cost me, or it might have been a bit more, maybe $100 or something, I'm using the genuine one. On the cylinder head temperature probes, the kit that I got that is different to what Gavin's got is that I've got these style here, which I believe fit underneath the spark plug, and this gets bent out so your probe connects to that. Now these come in about 3 different sizes. The ones that they sent me out don't fit these plugs, they just fit into it, so I'll get the next size up from these to do that. Now if I'm doing that wrong, I'd love to know. I'm going to put them into the two top spark plugs on this side and the 2 top spark plugs on that side, and then take that back to the RDAC unit. If I'm doing that wrong, because I noticed that Gavin drilled and tapped his into the actual cylinder head itself, I'm a bit dubious about doing that, just in case I go that little bit too far or get a little bit overzealous with it. So that's the style I've got. I'll just swap those out for a larger one. Don't quote me, I think that might be around about sort of 12 mil. I think they come in about 15 mil and whatever, so I've got to do that as well. Also, just reading ahead into the instructions, and it talks about an oil filter installation. Now I don't recall getting any oil filter as part of my kit, so I'm going to go and do some research on that. But I'm sure Brian will let me know the recommended one for this kit once he sees this online. But if anyone can let me know, it'd be greatly appreciated what one to get. It sort of shows it quite a clear picture of it. But going back to the previous page, it doesn't mention anything on here about what part number it is or anything. So that's my dilemma at the moment. Other than that, I think pretty much done as much as I can prior to doing any of the finalisation of any of the lines, oil lines and coolant lines or whatever. So the main objective obviously was to just get this part of it done, so I know where the bulk of everything goes and start filling in all the blanks, I guess. So I might close this one off now and post it and come back to you on the next part of the build. Come back to you shortly.